You. Yeah, you. Did you know that your nostalgia for EverQuest 1 is holding the genre back? This whole, if it's not classic 1999 EverQuest, it's not really EverQuest, and I refuse to play the TLPs, and I refuse to play this, that, the other. Yeah. Get with the program, folks. It's 2022. The genre is moving on whether or not you want it to, and trying to remain stuck in the past is just ruining the MMORPG genre as we know it. We're going to be diving into it today. So strap in, buckle up, all those things, because your nostalgia balls, we're not tickling them today. We might be crushing them just a little bit. I'm Tim Anderson, aka Renfail. If this is your first time here, well, hopefully you like the video enough to like it, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you can follow along and get updates as I do future content in this and other series. I do book reviews, TV shows, movies, films, whoever gaming community. Discord, links are down below. I'm also the founder of Stormhaven Studios and the Wandering Hermits, currently working on The World, The Weave, and The Void. We'll talk about all that stuff later. Let's let's take a look back at 1999.
It is rumored amongst the most intelligent races of Norrath that first came the dragons. The great crystalline dragon, ruler over the plane of sky, deposited life onto a lifeless planet, and with one swipe of her mighty claws, laid claim to the promise of a new world. Norrath quickly developed from infancy as brave explorers journeyed forth in search of fertile lands on which to build. Villages became towns. Towns became cities. Cities became kingdoms. Guilds and alliances formed, bound together through common goals and the sharing of ideas. The desires to grow beyond the common abilities of mere mortals introduced powerful skills, trades, and crafts. Wizards, sorcerers, and enchanters mastered powerful magic and mystical arts. But alas, ignorance and innocence go hand in hand. It is the adventure of quest that awaits the bold and daring. It is the land of EverQuest.
So that trailer makes me laugh because apart from having the mention of Norrath and a little bit of concept art for Kaladin and Kelethin, there's nothing in that trailer that actually has anything from the game. And it even says, not actual game footage, just a trailer. But it's just really funny to me. I had to go back and dive into that because it takes me back to 1999 and how amazing it was at the time, and then diving into that game for the first time. And to this day, EverQuest is still in my top five. It's definitely nostalgic. It was my first MMORPG. I loved it. But I think other games have done it better over the years. I think Vanguard did it much better. We can look at other games that have come along since then. Lord of the Rings Online, as an example, is probably my favorite MMORPG of all time, just in terms of writing and pacing and just sheer ambiance. But what really gets me is, looking at games that are being developed today and looking at, say, a good example of this would be Pantheon. Pantheon being in development right now, and that being Brad McQuaid's, latest venture before he passed. And we see a lot of people who are trying to apply the labels of EverQuest to Pantheon and saying, it has to be designed like this or it's not going to be a good game. Who the fuck are you people? Like, it's like you've got this hardcore Project 1999 group of people who refuse to want to see the genre move forward. They still clamor on about how if the game's not going to have corpse runs, it's automatically going to be ruined. And it's not just for Pantheon, it's also for any MMORPG out there. They come out of the woodwork and they make claims like that. If your game doesn't have corpse runs, it's going to fail because of reasons X, Y, and Z. Dude, corpse runs were so 1999, 20 plus years ago. Nobody has time for that. It's not a feature that the modern generation of gamers will support, let alone do any of us really want to go back to corpse runs. The other one is this whole idea of if you're, I liked EverQuest up until up until Planes of Power, and that's when they introduced the teleportation books, and I just can't stand the game after that because it ruined the game and it made it a horrible game, and I just don't want to play it if And so you get these people who, when the new progression servers come out, they make these rants about how they don't want to play X, Y, or Z expansion packs because beyond this, the game was ruined for me. And everybody's got a different version of that. For some people, it's Velius. For some people, it's the Lukeland expansion on the moon. For some people, it's Planes of Power. For some people, it's Gates of Discord. Everybody has their own version. But my most common one that I've heard complaints about is the teleportation books. And it is true that there's a certain amount of sort of the world got a lot smaller at that point because you were able to instantly teleport around everywhere, and you didn't need to rely on a druid or a wizard or even the old moon spires, which you had to wait, I think, 10 or 15 minutes on back in the day. I really don't remember the timeline. But these are all quality of life features that, in my mind, modernized the genre, made the game better, and made other games after it better for it. Um, there is something to be said to going back to a classic experience with the progression servers and having fast travel be very limited, but it's also extremely freaking annoying, like to have to try to either wait to find someone who can teleport you or have a friend who can log on to teleport you. And most people, myself included, just end up making a box account that we create that ends up being our druid or wizard that ports us around because we don't want to have to deal with the inconvenience of relying on other people who might not be available when we need to be teleported. So the idea that EverQuest was ruined once teleportation books were entered into the scene, and once the Planes of Power expansion came, that's ludicrous. And it's that sort of mentality that's holding the genre back because people want to have these 30-minute boat rides and these ridiculous 6-hour corpse runs and forced grouping to where you have to sit around for 6 hours and wait for somebody so that you can go do a simple quest line. That doesn't work in the modern era. If people can't complete content, they will log off and go somewhere else because there are 1,000 other games we can play these days. It wasn't like that back in 1999 because we only had one or two options, and so we just were forced to deal with it. When you're not forced to deal with it and you have all these other options, there's no reason to sit there and deal with such, you know, it's kind of like being a Luddite to some degree in the sense that how badly some of these P99 hardcore EverQuest people refuse to move forward with the modern era, and they want to be held back by the chains of Ludditism, if that's the word we can use. Um, Things like fast travel, group finders, etc., maps, mini maps, and all those things. I'll be the first to say that during my time as creative director on the Saga of Leucemia, I was very much sort of in the camp of I don't want a mini map in my game. And there was a reason for that because there is something to be said for being able to learn landmarks and move around a game. And I still hold true that there are some things like mini maps that when you look at a medieval game, it doesn't necessarily make sense to have a mini map in a medieval game. But if you are a mage and you have magical abilities, why wouldn't you be able to know where true north is and thus have a GPS that you could figure out through magical means? Food for thought, but especially in, a science fiction game. But what really drives me nuts is as we see Pantheon and Ashes of Creation and other games being developed, I continually see comments being made from these old school MMORPG players who make these ridiculous comments about how, well, if you're not going to have this hardcore feature, the game's going to fail, and if you don't allow people to have corpse runs, the game's going to fail, and if you don't force people to group, the game's going to fail, and if you don't do this, that, and the other, who are you and why are you still it's like I had a good discussion with this the other day with someone who said that there are some people out there who have remained stuck in 1999 and 2000. They've never modernized, they've never upgraded, they don't play other games, they only play P99 and old school EverQuest, and they refuse to think about any other game because they don't consider any other games to be worthy of playing, as stuck in the past. And that's the danger with letting nostalgia cloud your vision and having these rose-colored, rose-tinted glasses kind of tint your version of reality because it's not the case. I love modern features in games. I love where the genre has evolved over the years. I love Lord of the Rings Online. I love Star Wars: The Old Republic. I love having fully voiced voice acting in my game. I love epic quest chains that don't require me to spend, you know, 8 months grinding keys off of mobs that only spawn maybe once every 14 to 16 hours, and I have to fight with 12 other guilds to get those. I like being able to know that I can go here, kill this mob, go complete this quest, still have something that takes time for me to complete and requires a few other people to do significant parts of it, but I don't have to deal with camping and corpse runs and all of this ridiculous sitting on a boat for 45 minutes and then getting kicked off the boat because of server lag and zoning and then I'm drowning and all this other crap. Modernize, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay to look back and enjoy nostalgic things. It's not okay to have that be an anchor that holds you and the rest of the industry back. I don't want Pantheon, Ashes of Creation, and other indie MMORPGs coming out to be another version of 1999 EverQuest or P99. I want a modern MMORPG that has a few nostalgic elements in there, some group gameplay, some hardcore, raid bosses and things of that nature. But I also want to see fast travel and better group fighters and social integration with social media. And I like Discord and voice chat and role play opportunities that VoIP and other modernizations offer us. I also love seeing better graphics. I like all of those things. Let's move forward, ladies and gentlemen, and not remain stuck in the past. Food for thought. If you like this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, all those good things. Don't forget, we are going to be playing on the new EverQuest TLP servers. We are not going to be starting in May. We're going to be coming and starting in mid-June. We're going to be playing on the... I'm going to go scroll up a little bit because I forget. I think it's called Yelnek, I think. Let me double check what the new server is going to be called. Do, 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 do. Yeah, where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Yellonak, that's the name of the server. We're going to be going to Yellonak. There's a video here on YouTube about that, but also you can find more information in our Discord. Links are down below. Our gaming community currently plays Lord of the Rings Online on the weekends and throughout the week, but we are going to be splitting it up a little bit and starting to play that new EQ1 TLP server in June. Looks like Saturdays and Sundays, Saturday morning and Sunday mornings are going to be the times when we play it with some static groups. If you want to join us, feel free to join our Discord. We'll see you in game. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next episode. Don't forget, if you want to follow along for more and you want to support the channel, you can always join as a member. You can also head on over to the Patreon page for the World of the Weave and the Void. It's a 5th edition tabletop setting with the books coming out in June. There's a point and click game due out later this year. You can download the free demo now. And of course, there's the book series like Dragonlance being published twice a month, all on patreon.com/wandering hermits. Myself, my brother, my wife, and Nathan Napalm helping out with character art. So hopefully we'll see you over there. Until next time, stay safe and don't get stuck in nostalgia, ladies and gentlemen. Go enjoy gaming in the 21st century. It's 2022 and there's some really cool stuff out there. See you next time.